Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Move Fast, Lift Heavy podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, co-host of MFLH Pod. Thanks for tuning in. If it's your first time and you like the podcast, you like the brand Move Fast, Lift Heavy, please subscribe, tell your friends, leave a comment, double click, swipe up, tap, give a heart, do all the things, screenshot it, put it on your IG story. I'm being silly, but I'm being serious. Help us spread the good word about Move Fast, Lift Heavy. You can check us out on the gram at Move Fast, Lift Heavy. And you can go to our website, movefastliftheavy.com, to see all things apparel and training with founder Christian Harris. Speaking of apparel, we have a drop coming up May the 20th. It's our May 22 drop. Christian can chat about that a little bit here. But real quick, if you haven't tried out Train with CH, or our new pump track, which is fire. If you're watching on YouTube, I don't know who that guy is, but that back is crazy. If you want to just get like half of that back right there, you should try out Pump with CH. That's on our website, Move Fast Lift Heavy, or you can go to mflhtrain.com. So, I mean, come on, there's the guy. If you're watching on YouTube, I just got done with my Pump with CH. My lighting's a little bit too bright, but I'm working on that bicep right there. CH got me on the great straight and narrow, so things are going well for me. If you want to try it out, it's 7 days free. So yeah, again, movefastliftheavy.com. Let's bring on the man, founder of MFLH, wearing a beanie right now because he's in New York and I'm in Miami. Don't want to brag about it, but I'm nice and warm down here. Hopefully the warm weather's coming up to New York. Maybe it is. Christian's super trendy, so maybe it's 90 degrees up there and he's just wearing a beanie because that's the cool thing to do. You never know with this guy. So please welcome to the podcast, co-host, founder of Move Fast Lift Heavy, Christian Harris.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, we're just having a grand old day today. It's Thursday. Got the day started with a little swim.
Yeah.
We're increasing some of the training volume on our active recovery day.
Okay.
So after the swim, we went back into the gym and we did a little run, ski interval work. And I finished that up about 20 minutes ago, and here we are.
Did you wear your
just in time?
Did you wear your AIRWAAV while you were swimming?
I did not wear it this week.
I'm just teasing.
I did try it the last time I swam. It's going to take some getting used to. But speaking of AIRWAAV, I guess we could bring on our guest.
Yeah,
our guest is the brains behind this little mouthpiece that I've been very addicted to since getting onto it. So we're going to bring on Dr. Dena Garner, the creator of AIRWAAV.
Hey guys.
Welcome, Dr. Dena. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's jump into the background of AIRWAAV. For those who might not be familiar with AIRWAAV, you might, if you follow Christian and you see his workouts and he's talking to the camera, usually there's this like thing hanging out of his mouth as he's speaking. That's the AIRWAAV. You see other top athletes in the CrossFit space also wearing it. How did this happen? Did you just wake up one day and decide like, I think we need to do this? Or how did the creation of AIRWAAV come about?
It's a great question. It was about 18 years ago that someone who had previously worked for Colgate-Palmolive, Dr. Hank Cross, had approached me. He was in the Charleston area, and he was working with a company. And his goal, because he did research with Colgate-Palmolive, he was a chemist there, was to research the mouthpiece. And at that time, there really had not been a lot of research as it relates to the use of mouthpieces during exercise. In the 80s, there was a little bit of research related to that that dentists would do, but it was pretty subjective. So his goal when he approached me was for me to as exercise physiologists to potentially understand if there were physiological benefits. And I'll be honest, I'd never heard of that. Only thing I knew about mouthpieces was, mouth guard growing up playing sports. So I thought it was quite a long shot, to say it kindly, that we would even find anything. But the subjective feedback, like Christian Harris has provided, how it helps him, it was enough for me to motivate me to get one of my graduate students to work with me to see if we could kind of tease through it. And we can talk more about it later. But for me as a physiologist, I wanted hard data, objective numbers. And fatigue really is an easy way to assess it is, for example, with lactate, cortisol. There's a few different markers that objectively we could see potentially a change. So that's what we set out to do.
Okay, very nice. All right, so when you went to go test this, was it your graduate assistant who at first was wearing the mouth guard and giving you the feedback?
So we have, I'm at a military school, and we have students who are potential. A lot of them will commission. So our format is military, and they do PT, physical training. And so my subjects were cadets. And when we would run them through the different tests and measure all the various things we would measure, that's the individuals we would use. So I like to really align military with athletes in general anyway. And so it made sense for me to kind of be able to start with that group, that population.
Okay. Cool. Has the design of the mouthpiece been pretty much the same from its inception?
No, so that's what kind of started me down that road. We were working with a company, and I started, and then they changed the design of what we now use as a lower mouthpiece, and they changed the design, and it did not seem to work as well with the results I was finding. And it really befuddled me. And it was of course, we found changes with lactate and cortisol and respiratory rate. But for me, I wanted to figure out, well, why is that? And so that's what kind of led me down this path of research on my own to understand, okay, what could be happening, and why would this one design of this mouthpiece be different for another? Why can't you just go to Walmart and buy something off the shelf? And that led me down the understanding of there's been extensive research with sleep apnea population, and it's, strangely enough, just how the tongue, seeing it as a muscle and how it can change. It does change. Like if you activate your muscle and put it on the base of your floor of your mouth, there's a physiological response, and that opens your airway. The other aspect that I noticed when I did research, not only with sleep apnea, was the Japanese have done extensive research with clenching. And so Christian probably could attest, I know I do it when I wear it and I'm in intense exercise, I'm biting down. And so with this mouthpiece, you've got your occlusal surfaces, both the top and the bottom are both touching, and that provides greater outcomes, more important outcomes. And so when you kind of tease down the science of why clenching is important, which we can talk about later, that along with the sleep apnea research and seeing the tongue as a muscle and its importance during exercise was just eye-opening. It really provided the gateway for me to see how we could envision and create this product that you have now with AIRWAAV.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this 17 years in the making? Is this 17 years you've been working on this?
That's right. 18 actually, because my son, who just turned 18 a couple of days ago, he was actually born right when we started doing the research. So that's how I kind of gauged how long it's been. So 18 years, yes.
Wow, your son's lifetime so far. I mean,
yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations just on the consistency and endurance to just dedicate your time to this project. I think that's inspiring for anyone, regardless of what they're wanting to do with their life. That's amazing. When you were talking about the tongue being a muscle, I was just doing it right now, lowering the tongue and bringing it up.
Same.
I could definitely feel that when I lowered the tongue, that my air path opened up, and as I lifted it up, it's kind of clenched up on me as well. So yeah, it's definitely undeniable.
So when we think about sleep apnea, the whole problem with that is their tongue. And as you age, your tongue loses its strength, and the ability for the tongue to fall back. When you sleep is very real. It results in snoring and sleep apneic outcomes. And so the research has shown, if you can create mandibular devices that kind of shift that mandible forward and cause that tongue to go on the floor of the mouth, that results typically in better outcomes for sleep apnea. Of course, having a product like the sleep apneic machines are the best, but this is a potential product that could help someone with mild sleep, snoring issues and so forth. And we are testing that with a different device with snoring, and we are seeing changes with the device, a lower mouthpiece. And we've tested upper, lower, and both. And the best outcomes are when you have a lower mouthpiece. And again, that's what we're seeing aligns with the tongue being able to stay at the base of your mouth during sleep for this example. And so it's helpful for people during exercise.
So to confirm, you can wear the product while you're sleeping? Because I've had people ask me that.
That's right. So I actually wear mine when I'm sleeping because I'm a grinder for bruxism. And now I use the endurance one, not the I guess the red hot hit piece, high intensity piece. But because the difference between the two products is, I don't think I have one right. Oh, so you've got this one, the high intensity product right here. And then you've got this, I guess the endurance piece. It has more, it binds tighter to your teeth. And so I don't have a problem. I've not had a problem. I wouldn't say I recommend that you wear it, but I've never had a problem with it coming out at night. So yes, I do wear mine.
For us, for me, for people listening, what's the difference between the endurance piece and the high intensity piece?
So if you can see the sides of the high intensity piece, there's some T-bars that are missing. So those T-bars that come down allow the Vistamex product to.
I'm gonna zoom in on. You can continue.
Okay, so the high intensity piece doesn't have those little T-bars that come down, and the Vistamax meshes within your teeth and little grooves of your teeth, and it allows a very tighter fit than the high intensity piece. But both are great. I've used both. I love both. For me, I'm more of an endurance athlete, so I typically will trend to using the endurance piece.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I just got the endurance piece about 2 weeks ago, and since using that one, I actually like that one a lot better because it fits so much tighter around the teeth.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get into the clenching you were talking about with the previous studies and why that is a hindrance or why it's a good thing. I'm unsure, so I'd love for you to give us some insight on that.
Well, if you think about, firstly, if you were to try to clench now, it'd be pretty uncomfortable, and more than likely you couldn't get all your teeth in contact with the mouthpiece in the way it's designed. It shifts your mandible forward a bit, and it causes all your teeth to align. And there's research that suggests that is a better outcome versus the teeth not touching. And so when you look at the clenching research, you see that it activates. There's a couple of things it does that's pretty substantiated in the research. It increases cerebral brain flow. Blood brain flow. And so if you look at blood flow within the brain, for example, that's increased with clenching. The other thing it does is it acts on just areas in the brain. And there's one area, for example, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex that is aligned with potentially causing changes in cortisol. And so the clenching causes that, and also potentially, I guess I should go back to one other thing to preface all this, but the other thing it potentially does is it affects hormonal changes. So I guess what I'd like to say is, for the most part, we think of exercise, any exercise, for example, CrossFit, running, we think of the muscles we're activating, and we really isolate those muscles, and it's important to work on certain muscles for whatever exercise it is. But I just finished reading a paper by Dr. Tim Noakes, who's in South Africa Sport Institute in Cape Town. And he really made the case, which we all would agree with, that the brain really is the modulator of exercise. And so when you think about that, when you're acting on areas of the brain, with it clenching, for example, cerebral blood flow, potentially that area in the cerebral cortex, when you're clenching, then that therefore can affect so many different things. It has a cascade of events. And so that's one aspect to the mouthpiece that it's critical that we're seeing that it does seem to affect. Cortisol changes is being one of those. So I don't know if that made sense, but
no, yeah, it does.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And Christian, I see you got your AIRWAAV.
I got it over here.
This is kind of your spin room, as not spin room, your Concept 2 bike room as well. So is that why you have it in the room or what?
I just have my bag close by.
Oh, right. You just popped in.
How am I doing with my speech right now? Am I
get a little
lispy or?
Yeah, you get a little lispy when you're talking with it. Let's talk about that. Maybe there's nothing that can be done about that. But Dr. Dena, you aren't done with the research. Apparently, you're still like actively doing research on the AIRWAAV and future modifications. Tell us a little bit about what might be, down the pipeline for it.
So we just yesterday finished up testing 12 subjects with and without the mouthpiece, the endurance mouthpiece, with VO2 max and ratings of perceived exertion. So I haven't analyzed the data yet, but that's one study, and we'll continue to. 12 is not enough, but they have graduation on Saturday, so they're done. And so we'll get more subjects over the summer with the VO2 max differences. We're doing a sleep study with a similar product, lower mouthpiece, right now. And we did, there was a study that we're collaborating with a school, University in Florida, on baseball. And bat swing and so forth. So we're still moving forward. We've got a golfing study at the College of Charleston. There's a lot that we have in that we're working on now.
Nice.
That's cool.
Christian, so let's get into I know you always say there's a getting used to it phase, and then once you get used to it, kind of you reap the benefits of what it's intended to do. Tell us a little bit about your experience, and maybe if Dr. Dena has any feedback on that, she could give us more insight.
Yeah, so when I initially got the AIRWAAV, I was excited to try it, and I got the high intensity piece, which is the clear and red version. And this has got to be close to 2 years now that I've been using the mouthpiece. And I think I made a poor choice with the workout selection when I initially tried it. I did a bunch of running and assault bike sprints, and I just couldn't get used to the mouthpiece being in my mouth, and I literally took it out and threw it across the gym. And then after a couple of days, I revisited it, and I wore it during lifting. So much lower intensity work. And I specifically wore it on a day where I was back squatting, because when I squat, I'm a pretty big clencher. And when I had the mouthpiece in, it just felt so much better squatting with the mouthpiece. So I wore it for another few days lifting, and then I started to wear it during more interval work that was lower intensity, just so I wasn't panting too much or getting very out of breath. And after about a week or two, I really just took a liking to it and never looked back. Like, there's times when I'm getting ready to start a workout and I forget to put the AIRWAAV in, and I stop the clock and I go back and get reset because I kind of feel naked without it.
So now I kind of chuckled when you said you threw it across the room, because now that we know that Dr. Dena has been working on this for 18 years, you threw someone's work of 18 years across the room out of frustration. No, I'm just teasing. So now, Christian, though, you can wear it during bike sprints. You can wear it all the time, or
I wear it for literally every fitness endeavor. I wore it for the first time swimming a couple of weeks ago. I haven't swam in a few weeks, and today was my first day back in the water, and I didn't bring it today, but I need to remember to bring it. Have you had any studies with swimmers with the mouthpiece?
We have not done swimming. Personally, I do also use it during swimming. I think it's good to get feedback because I get this question, Joe, how long does it take to get used to it? It's been so long. I've worn mine for so long that it's hard for me to answer because I'm like, Christian, if I start a run without it, I'm running back to the house to grab it because there's no way that I'm going to do my workout without it. And that is really important when we think about just motivation, potentially those areas in the brain that could be affected by the clenching and the breathing. It's not just a subjective thing. We're going to start looking at areas in the brain that are being affected. And I think it's going to bear out, the data is going to bear out that it really is aligned to motivation and ratings of perceived exertion. And therefore that affects your workout. I mean, when you think about when you maybe carb load versus you do protein dieting, man, there's a lot of science that shows when you're just eating high protein, it's hard to have motivation and your ratings of perceived exertion are just much higher. And so I see it sort of aligns to that at a smaller, kind of less impactful level, but that seems to have motivation and ratings of perceived exertion being affected by the use of the mouthpiece.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I like about it is that it can give you just something mentally different to focus on than, how bad something is hurting at the time in the workout. You can think about, biting down on the mouthpiece, or like I personally, I kind of have a little bit of an oral fixation. So before using the mouthpiece, I would chew gum during my workouts. This seems like a much safer option.
No, you're right. And that's, and going back to the Japanese, they've done chewing gum, they've done clenching, and chewing gum also activates those areas in the brain that help with, that you're alluding to. But then the clenching has the most profound effect. So you're doing the most important thing. And again, that has to do with your occlusal surfaces touching more consistently throughout your workout. So, going back to your, previous question is how long does it take to get acclimated to it? Doing this research we're doing now with cadets who've never worn it, some do say it's like hard to run with, but they do like it after a while. I don't know what that after a while looks like, but typically it's about what Christian alluded to, about a week. Give it some time. And like, I feel like for the most part, once you give it a week and try it and you work and it doesn't create any issues, you're going to be also, I can't go without it. And it does affect so many positive things. So for the most part, it's been a positive effect on individuals.
And if you think about like your typical CrossFitter, right? They start and the first thing that they get is a pair of shoes. Then they get knee sleeves. Then they get lifters. Then it's a belt, right? And then they start lifting and doing all these things with their equipment. They become very reliant or very dependent upon it, maybe to a fault. But the mouthpiece, again, it's kind of the same thing. Like once you get used to it, you don't want to do anything without it.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry if you've already touched on this, but is there a possibility where sports like football, basketball, fighters that are wearing a top mouthpiece, mouth guard, could also wear an AIRWAAV?
So that's what for now, that would be something I would love to be able to create. In my brain, I have some ideas, but what we suggest is train with the AIRWAAV, the lower mouthpiece, and then in your competition, use your protective mouthpiece. But the main point is with the interaction of the two, there's got to be occlusal, again, your top and your bottom surface of your teeth. You've got to have good alignment in those. And so that's what we kind of would want to study if we did both of those at the same time.
Got it. Nice. Christian, are we going to put Dr. Dena on the hot seat?
I think we have to.
I think it'd be awesome. Dr. Dena,
it wouldn't be right.
We're going to put you on the hot seat. Every guest, all 38 of them before you have been on the hot seat. So you got to be on the hot seat. So here we
yay.
go.
All right. Series of questions coming up for you. You're going to give me the first thing that comes to mind, short answer form here. You ready?
Okay, I guess so, yes.
Would you rather move fast or lift heavy?
Move fast.
Coffee or pre-workout?
Coffee.
Favorite workout shoe?
Barefoot.
Favorite brunch food?
I don't eat brunch.
Favorite song at the moment?
Oh, gracious. Oh, I don't have one. I haven't listened to the radio forever. I'm listening to podcasts. My podcast.
All right,
I'll tell you my favorite
What's your
podcast.
favorite podcast?
Well, I just learned about yours, so that would be a great one. But I love Hidden Brain by Shankar Vedante.
Okay. If you had to pick one movement for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Running.
All right. You survived the hot seat.
Yay, that wasn't that bad at all. Much better than my dissertation.
You actually were one of the better guests that like played by the true rules of the hot seat, where like you're trying to spit out the answer quickly. You did a really good job at that. Sometimes our guests are on the hot seat and they're doing like a 1 minute like recap of their answers. So that was great.
Okay, good. I'm glad I passed.
Kudos.
Tell the podcast again that you listened to one more time.
Hidden Brain by Shankar Vedante. And it's about the science of the brain and how different behaviors we have as humans. And it's just an amazing, fascinating podcast for anybody.
Nice. I just started the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it sounds kind of maybe similar. Just what's going on up here that we don't even realize, and how those little things over and over again are affecting the whole of our lives.
Absolutely.
That's
cool.
right.
Well, here we are in after hours. Christian, Dr. Dena, besides AIRWAAV and running, you have an 18-year-old son. What else can we learn about you that's unrelated to maybe the science of AIRWAAV? We like to do a little getting to know you section.
So I've gone skydiving. I would love to learn to CrossFit, but I haven't had the chance to do that, but I know what it is. I have many students. I have a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 15, 14, 13, and 9-year-old. So I have a lot of children running around.
Wait, was that was 5 or 6?
Yeah.
6 kids.
Yep, 6.
Can you remember all their names?
Yes, Cooper, Sawyer, Christopher, Cole, Edison, and Nash. They're all just keeping me busy for sure.
6 boys?
5 boys and 1 girl.
5 boys, 1 girl.
Wow.
My other line of research is concussion. So I've worked with a company to develop a technology that looks at the blink reflex and assesses differences with concussed and non-concussed athletes. And we're looking at how that could also be translated to migraine, Parkinson's. So hopefully could really help some populations. I think that's it. That's enough,
cool.
right? That's enough.
That's some pretty cool stuff.
It's fun. It keeps me busy.
I'm sure. Yeah. So for our listeners and for me and Christian, we have a lot of things going on with our life and our entrepreneurial pursuits and so on and so forth. So you have 2 major studies going on with the AIRWAAV and the concussions. How do you go about balancing that and keeping them separate and keeping them organized and efficient?
Yeah, really hard, right? I mean, you can't juggle everything and do it well. So I'm going on sabbatical this year coming up. So I'm super excited about that. And that just means I can do my research full time, and my administrative duties are done here at my institution. And I don't have to teach for a year. So I'm looking forward to collaborating. I collaborate with people at Vanderbilt, University of Buffalo. So I'm super excited about just having the time to be able to pick their brains and dig a little deeper in each of these areas and make me a better researcher, and hopefully have some good science that everybody could really benefit from.
Nice.
Cool. Oh, good for you.
Christian, do you have any last closing statements for Dr. Dena here?
Is there any new products coming out for AIRWAAV or anything like that I can get my followers a preview of?
So we're doing a prototype now, working with a company. There's a few of us to develop a sleep recovery device. So we've got research on an existing device, but now we're seeing that athletes need a good sleep product. So that prototype's coming out now. I'm going to do some testing, and then we'll be able to see if we can get that on the market. I don't know anything about that timing, but absolutely, I'm sure they'd be happy to send you one once we get it.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Good stuff. You heard it here first.
That's right. You did. You absolutely did. That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time, Dr. Dena.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. That was Dr. Dena Garner from AIRWAAV. If you want to check out AIRWAAV, you can follow them on the gram, AIRWAAV. Christian.
Learned a lot.
Learned a lot. That was great.
Yeah. A lot of good nuggets in there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Maybe I have to pull the trigger. Because I'm curious about wearing it maybe even during sleeping, because I have a fitted quote unquote grinder guard that I wear on my bottom teeth. So that would be interesting to try.
Yeah, I have an extra one. So when you come up, a not used one, you can have that one.
All right, cool. I'll try it out. We didn't get to talk about the May drop. Talk to us about the May drop.
The May drop. What do we got?
May 20th.
Today's Cinco de Mayo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't know if you can see my shirt.
Yeah, I got train now, tacos later. Wait, here. We'll zoom in on tacos later. Is that
train now, tacos later? No, that came out last
night. Already dropped. Yeah, you do a good job. Everyone that's listening, if you see us drop something and you're like, wait, that's next month, it's intentional so that you can get it now and have it ready for the next month. So talk to us a little bit about May and what we're getting ready for next month.
Yeah, so for next month, we're getting ready for Pride. So our next drop is heavily influenced by Pride Month. Couple of new things that we're going to be adding into the drop is the Ally. And I don't know if you are all familiar with the Ally flag and the intention behind it, but it's for the straight person that is for gays or in support of gays. And both of my brothers, they're both gay, and obviously I'm not, being married. And I support my brothers fully.
Married to a woman.
Married to a woman. 9 years, actually, just two days ago.
Yeah.
And I support my brothers fully, and that's kind of what the Ally flag is all about. It's about supporting Pride.
Cool.
So, yeah.
What's one of your favorite designs within the drop?
I like the Babe shirt. So we usually do the Babe shirt for the females in like some sort of crop or a tank top, but we did it in a men's pink tee. So it's pink on pink. So a little subtle hit of the Babe. I like it.
This is my favorite.
Probably my favorite piece. Yeah.
Might be like a top 5, top 3 all-time favorite of mine.
The Babe?
Yeah. It's I don't know. There's something about it. It's definitely gonna like stop people when they see it on me, at least, or on you. It's like, you know, you're not expecting someone to be wearing a shirt that says babe on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. All right. Well, until the next one, next episode, everyone, if you're still with us, is going to be Con Porter, the Australian CrossFit god of thunder. Now he's in Iceland, so I guess he's the god of thunder with the Thor's daughter and all those daughters over there. So Con Porter coming up next. Christian, see you on the next one.
All righty.
Later. All right, everyone. Joe Roscoe here. That was Christian Harris with our guest, Dr. Dena Garner from AIRWAAV. Don't forget about movefastliftheavy.com. We got that drop coming out May the 20th. And if you want to try out Christian's program and train exactly how Christian trains, you can try out Training with CH. You can find that at movefastliftheavy.com or our more specific site, MFLHtrain.com. Also, don't forget about his pump program too. Also, the brains behind that. If you like this CrossFit thing, but you want to chase that pump, chase that aesthetic, I think it's safe to say by the photos, if you're watching on YouTube, this is the guy to follow. So thanks for your support. Joe Roscoe here, signing off. Continue to move fast and lift heavy. We'll see you on the next one.